Hey everyone, Paul Xavier here, and today I have a special guest, Darryl, with me all the way from Australia. What part of Australia are you in, Darryl?
From Melbourne.
Melbourne. Yeah, and he's going to share his journey, which is a pretty remarkable journey so far as a video creator, going from doing project to project, really building the traditional video production company, which he scaled to a significant income for himself, to joining the Next Level Creators Program, putting a different model in place, getting recurring revenue clients, and what that's been able to do for him so far. So, Darryl, thanks for joining and sharing your story, of course. And what was life like back, basically, what got you into wanting to be a video creator and wanting to do video production for people as a job and as a career path?
Well, actually, it's a pretty interesting story, at least for myself. The main reason why I started doing video was because I couldn't get a job. I'd had various other jobs, and I'd been involved in a lot of creative, artistic practices. And for whatever reason, I ended up at a certain point, turning 30, where I couldn't get a job despite having some of the best qualifications you can get and a lot of track record in jobs. So at that point, someone paid me to hold the camera because they knew I was handy in production, and that gave me some money. And I thought, oh, that's nice money. And then they paid me again, and I thought, oh, that's nice. Again, a bit more over here, a bit more over there. People just kept on asking me, and from there, I guess a video creator was born, and I just kept on pursuing it because at that stage, it was what was helping to feed me and pay the rent. And so quite contrary to getting into it for, creative ideals and because you want to make, beautiful art, I just got into it because it paid me money. And I was lucky enough that it also allowed me to make, beautiful art at the same time as well.
Yeah, yeah. So that's great. You actually got into it out of necessity rather than what a lot of people do is like, hey, this is my passion, this is my dream. And you were like, it wasn't that so much that. Has it turned into that for you at this point, like doing creative work and being a video creator?
Yeah, absolutely. I've always been, I think, involved in, the creative arts or the humanities in some respect. And the principles that underpin one aspect of the arts underpin all of them. So if you understand the composition of music, of literature, etc., you understand also some of the practices that go into visual art. So I was able to sort of sidestep around, but that key factor, doing it because someone was paying me, was what drove me to finally, I guess, crack it and start to make a living.
So how long ago was it when that first person paid you for a video? How many years?
About 4 years ago.
And in your first year, how much did you make, would you say, roughly?
Out of video, probably about $10,000, $15,000.
Sounds about, yeah, it sounds about right. And then second, third year, fourth year, how did things start to progress?
I think the next year was about 22,000 from the video. I was very lucky that my partner was having a full-time job at that point, which gave me the freedom to ignore the fact that it was only $22,000 and just think stubbornly, yeah, I can do this. I can do it. Come on. Next year, I think, was about 35,000. And then this current financial year, it's been about 115. And I guess those first 3 years, you slave for it. You're really results focused with your work. You're willing to do anything, and then you can start to cash in on that in your fourth year, or for me at least.
Yeah, and just to be clear with everyone who's listening here, this is a traditional video production company. You are going out, you are selling a video project, you're selling it based off of hours, right? Like hours and quality and these things that's what you were building, you're selling and your value off of. And you were able to scale that up to 120K a year, which is, I mean, for a lot of people, that's a ton of money, right? That's an amazing living for a lot of people. And for you, getting to that point, right? What was it like when you were at that point of, you had your first $120,000 a year? where was your mindset at about the business and what was going on? Because that was really right when you decided to engage with us. So what was happening there that made you look at the creators operating system and next level creators and say, this might be a good idea?
Really, it's a question of time and the lack of it. You know, at a certain point, your goals are, can I be shooting 5 days a week? You know, how productive can I be as a video creator? And then you get there and you realize 5 full days of shooting means 7 full days of post-production as well. It means not being able to find other people that can do the work or the post-production work at the level that you think it needs to be done. So you very quickly run out of time. And to give you a clear idea, I guess, of, I think to summarize how I would have felt, when you talk about selling on hours and selling on quality, my big differentiator to competition has been lighting, cinematography. So being able to light things in a cinematic way, make images look beautiful on smaller budgets. What that essentially means, though, is carting around lighting equipment, going to a rental warehouse, picking up the gear, taking it out to the shoot, setting it all up, packing it all down, taking it back to rental house. When time starts to run out, that backbreaking labor starts to take its toll. You know, you've got family things to worry about. You're just out all the time. You come home feeling like you've aged 20 or 30 years in a day. It's hard work. It's really, really hard work. And even though the money's starting to come in, you're thinking, well, what happens for the next 10 to 15 years? Is this what I do? How does this actually change? Do I just either plateau at 120,000, or can I double it by doubling the price? But, you know, how much physical labor can I actually do here? How much are people willing to pay for this? You can't define the value because you can't see a clear return on the work you do. It's just the perception of the quality, and it's also just the amount of time that you put into it.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's interesting because when you get to that point, which, I mean, that's a lot of people don't make it to that point because they get burnt out. Right. So, I mean, compliments to you. You had to hustle for it. Then when they do get to that point, it's this thing of, well, I have no time anymore because I'm always shooting. It's this never ending process. Job, shoot. The referrals are coming in. Like you don't really have to worry about that because your quality is great, but you have no time. So how do you scale this thing and make more money? Well, you can hire people, but then the margins go down. And if you hire people, the quality tends to go down a little bit. And then when you start putting that out there, your selling proposition starts to get weaker. And almost everyone can just walk away, these people you're hiring, and then get clients too. So you have the management problem. So I see that quite often in the video production industry. And so what was it about next level creators that kind of like clicked the light bulb on your head at that point? And what was attractive to you about commercial campaigns and running those as the model that we help people put in place?
What I think the reason next level creators initially appealed to me was that there was a message in it which was not just about making money, but which understood where I was at without us ever having met. It understood that when you get to that certain point of, breaking 6 figures for the year on a pure video production model, that you're going to start to run into problems. You're going to start at that point, you're no longer just thinking, how much money can I get? You're thinking, how can I make the making of money sustainable, fulfilling? How can I get balance into my life? How can I do the things that I want to do, but do it in a way which is on my terms and not just chasing and following everyone else's demands? And so there was something about next level creators which understood that particular challenge for me and was presenting a solution that would, take me out of that maelstrom and put me into a situation where I'd be in control. So it wasn't just something that says, hey, join something and we'll make you money. It was, to understand the real problems of people's, businesses and change them for the better.
I say that all the time, right? Like if you're an entrepreneur and your goal as a video creator is to make something beautiful, you're not like that. If that's all you want to do, you're not really an entrepreneur. you're someone who wants to make art, which is great. That's a great thing, and some people can make money from that. I don't really know how, but if you want to be an entrepreneur, you need to be thinking about how to create an impact for your clients, for your audience, for the people you are deciding to serve with your business. And the only way to do that is to look at what everyone else is doing and say, how do I 10x the value for my clients? Like, how do you take it to the next level? And so it sounds like that was really the key thing that clicked in your head was, oh, if I can get these people multiple commercials or one commercial that's distributed and get results, that was what was really exciting, was creating that win-win relationship with them. Is that right?
Absolutely. And look, here's, I guess, a really driving motivation for me, which others might be able to identify with, is producing work which others are skimming the value off. So, as a creator, you're always making stuff, and you might be working hand in hand with another agency or another marketing group of some kind that don't have the creative expertise in-house, but are simply in control of relationships with clients. So you go ahead and you do the work, which is then generating massive value for those clients and for the middleman and the middlewoman. So it was a case also about seeing some frustration and being in that position, the lack of power. I call it being a powerless creative. You need to know your value, and you need to be able to define the value in purely financial terms, or you'll always be stuck in that position of being squeezed by others who want to, we don't think you need 1 day to do this. We think you can do this in 3 hours. That kind of thing. If you've ever felt that before, those of you who might be listening, you'll know that is really, really annoying. Like someone telling you, yeah, you can do this in 2 hours. And then you produce something amazing for people and they make a lot of money off it. And then you think, well, what's stopping me being the one to control this situation? Because I might be a little bit presumptuous here, but I feel personally on the marketing side, you can learn the systems and you can learn the mindset, you can learn the approach a lot quicker than you can learn some of the aesthetic skills that go into creative practice and video making. Some of those things might take you a lifetime. You're never going to be where you want to be with them. You've started when you were 6 years old and you're still going all the time thinking, how can I get better at this creative side? But other parts you can learn very quickly on the job. And so the way I rationalized it was, I've been doing my 25-year apprenticeship in creative filmmaking. That's the hard bit done. I need to go and learn the part that others are doing and learn it quickly, and then make use of it myself to be in control, of earning the full value of what my skills can bring me.
Yeah. And so since you've joined, you joined Next Level Creators back basically February, like the very beginning of February. So you and I have been working together for 4.5 months at this point. And so what have you done so far? Like, what have you accomplished in that 4.5 months? What's changed for your business?
I think it's a mindset shift first and foremost. I mean, there have been some practical changes which we'll get to, but first and foremost, a mindset. Knowing that it is now okay to say no to a lot of things and to focus on one thing. Because before, when you're working on project to project and based on time, you are thinking, how much can I do? Because you're always worried that, there won't be a project next month. That's always on the back of your mind. So you need to just do as much as you can. Anything that comes, even if it's outside of your niche, someone wants you to do something, I don't know, just some ridiculous video project. You just think this is utterly stupid, but I'll do it because you know what? I want to make sure that I'm going to break 6 figures. I'm going to do that. I guess the point that I'm trying to make is, I think you've shared with us the story about the quote from Steve Jobs, which talks about, success or entrepreneurialism is about saying no to 1,000 ideas or 1,000 bad ideas or could have been ideas to focus on one thing. Mm-hmm. And what Next Level Creators provides you is that clarity to focus on one thing, because you're no longer thinking about how many projects can I accumulate, how many people can I meet, how many pro bono jobs could I do with people in order to just create relationships, which, takes time. You do a pro bono thing because you think you want to foster a relationship that can end up in 3 or 4 days of work if you're not careful, because you're wanting to make a good impression and you want to really impress that particular potential client. So all that stuff takes a lot of time to get work moving. Next Level Creators clears the desk of that, gives you a simple model, which essentially means predictable recurring income on a monthly basis, and then how many different clients can you add to the list, and comfortably, and not just to scale it for scaling's sake, but to scale people successfully, to scale it so that you make an impact for them.
Yeah.
And very quickly I was able to take away the stress of where am I going over the next 10 years, and it was more just about what are the results that I can get. As soon as I can get results, the next 10, 15 years is fine. It's fine. That is no longer a concern for me where things are going.
Good.
It's flipped around, actually. I had this explanation to someone yesterday. I used to worry about where things are going, but the short term was completely fine. Now it's the other way around. It's like I'm not worried where things are going. It's the short term that I am focused on, like getting the results right now.
Yeah. And that's doing what's best for the client, right? If we can help the client right now, today, improve their life and make more money, get their message out there, get more clients and grow, then we're protecting our long-term interests. Like that's going to be just fine. Right.
Yep.
And it's funny because you mentioned that quote by Steve Jobs, right? Steve Jobs, he was talking about, it's more important to get rid of the 1,000 good ideas that you have and focus on the one that's great. Like that's what focus really is, because there's always another bus that's going to come by, another opportunity. And when it comes down to it, like for you, figuring out that, hey, if I can deliver results to people, they're going to keep paying me. I just have to get a couple clients and deliver those results. And so right now, how many clients have you been able to add since you joined for commercial campaigns?
So yesterday, we just signed on our third Next Level Creators client. And look, to be honest, for the first 1 or 2 months of being in the program, I was barely even able to look at it. I was so busy with the old business model.
Yeah.
I couldn't even find the time just to sit down and focus on it. Started to get really frustrated about the old business and wanting to just slap away all those old clients and just focus on this, because I was starting to get on my nerves. And as soon as I did manage to make that time and get into it, there was initially a period of frustration, not understanding exactly whether it was the right fit for me, even though I think I knew in my heart that it was, but still there is always resistance because you want to do things the way you've always done them. And to change your mindset is can be such a painful thing to do when you're stuck in one certain way. So after that little period of adjustment, then was quite able to quickly bring in 3 clients, and very happy with that. So thanks for your contribution to that as well.
Of course. Thank you for being a hard worker. That's all it takes, right? If you're willing to put in the work, you can change. But if you're not willing to do the work, if you're not willing to look in the mirror and say, is this the right thing for me? Right? Because what I'm doing right now, it's really not what I want. So am I willing to get uncomfortable, do work that's outside of my comfort zone to grow? Because that's what it takes. And you did it. And now, so with these 3 clients, how much revenue? Because basically the way a commercial campaign works, for anyone who's listening who doesn't know, you have your video production fee where you're setting up the campaign, you're producing the commercials. Then you have your management fee. And that's what we're really after, because we want the relationship, the long-term relationship where the client, as they grow, they can spend more money with us. And they're actually incentivized to do that, right? They spend $2,000 with you now, they make $20,000. Tomorrow they spend $4,000, they make $40,000, right? This is the relationship we want to build. So for you, how much revenue has this brought in for your business on a monthly basis right now with these first 3 clients?
So I mean, there will be a setup aspect of a commercial campaign and the monthly retainer. On the monthly retainer side, I think we're at about 6,000 per month, and that includes capacity to. There's a variable aspect to that depending on how far we can scale. So 6,000 would be the minimum. If we were to scale some of these businesses at anywhere from 5 to 1 to 10 to 1, that figure could easily double in a month. So we're happy that we've been able to negotiate that aspect of it.
Yeah. So already the minimum is 72,000 a year because that's 6,000 over 12 months. If and when you get them results, that exponentially grows like massively and fast, which is the key. Because that's what we're excited to do. Because that's a good thing too. Because think about it, your incentive is in the right place, right? If I'm the business owner and I hire you, Darryl, I want you to be incentivized to get me results, and that's what we're doing. That's what this win-win relationship's all about. It's making those connections, and you grow, I grow, the whole pie gets bigger, right?
Yep.
I'm not taking a piece of the pie is getting bigger.
Yep.
That's awesome. And so for you, I mean, on a personal side, like what is this? Because you mentioned to me before we started the interview, you know, you were just about to have a baby. Have you had your, or did you have your baby? And now,
He turned
so,
1 year old yesterday.
Happy birthday.
Yeah, thank you, Clara. So she was born right when, you know, things really picked up on the previous model. So, you know, of course it all has to come at once. So I was working project to project. Hours were scarce. I had a new baby. I had a partner who was a new mother, you know, battling away with that particular challenge. I wasn't able to support her as much as I wish I could have, because there was always that fear of, okay, but if I'm here just, you know, at home with you all day, I'm not making money, you know? And so there was always that challenge to get back out there and work. So I guess how things have changed for me is a sense of peace, really. I know that doesn't sound like, doesn't have bells and whistles attached to it, that statement, but a sense of peace allows you to focus. You know, it takes your head out of the anxiety that I think comes with being in unstable or precarious income for certain people who don't have that assurance that whether I don't work hard or whether I skive off work, who cares? Because at the end of the day, there is still that fortnightly wage that comes in. Whereas for those of us on the other side of the fence, we know we can never think that way. We need to keep going all the time to earn money. So there's a price to pay for that, no matter whether you're earning 10 grand a year or, you know, 200K a year that way. There's always a price to pay for that. And it's the fact that you are anxious somewhere deep down inside of you, anxious about what the future holds. So the peace that NLC sort of brings is that knowing where the pathway lies. It just becomes then about implementing and taking action.
Yeah. Wow. That's a great way to put it. I've never articulated that way, but I think you're right. Because I mean, I went through the same thing in my business. Like I was running around with a chicken with its head cut off, just doing anything for everybody, the generalist entrepreneur, trying to make money. And then finally I found specialization, commercial campaigns. And as soon as I got my first client results and they reached out and said, you generated us a ton of sales. And I didn't even really know how to do the tracking at that point. I was just like, I don't know what I'm doing, but it worked. Like I figured it. That's when I just got to take like a breath and a sigh of relief. I've got something here. Like I know I'm going to be okay. That's really good. That makes a lot of sense. And it's funny you mentioned like your big leap forward, your increase in revenue happened right as your baby was born. I don't think I know a single person who has had a child and not, because that's like, it's an uncomfortable situation. The moment you have a kid, you're like, I'm uncomfortable. I've got to figure this out. I've got to do something. Yeah. So it puts you into that state where you have to grow.
That's right.
you've got to develop into the person who's going to be able to take care of this individual, because that's your responsibility. And everyone I know who gets in that state, they're more committed than any time before, like ever. And that's the best time to try to make a huge leap forward in your life. So that's awesome that it happened for you. Just that.
Yeah,
Just that.
absolutely.
Yeah.
The challenge for other people is to not wait till it becomes that point in their life. You know, that point where the baby's coming and you're thinking, I've got to change things here.
Yeah.
Do it before you have a kid.
I agree with that 100%. It's an interesting, because a lot of people, like, if you were to tell someone right now, um, what would you do if you wanted to recommend Next Level Creators to someone who's doing the traditional project to project? They're making $60,000 to $200,000 a year. They're looking to, where's the reliability? What would you say to that person who's thinking about waiting, who's thinking about putting it off and saying, nah, now's not the right time, I don't have the resources today? Like, what would you say to that individual?
I'd say that what you're doing by going into Next Level Creators is creating a type of freedom for yourself. And it's not necessarily the freedom that you understand when you're on the other side of the fence. So I guess what I mean by that is, when you're doing a creative practice, you think what you're doing is like, I'm being free. I'm going against the man. I'm not working for the dollar, stuck in a job. I'm out there doing what I want for myself. But that is just it's unfortunately, it's just another type of prison. It is, in a way, like whether you're in a 9 to 5 job with one boss, or you're freelancing with 100 bosses, all, all pushing you in different directions. You've swapped one prison for another, as far as I'm concerned. So what I looked at, and what I'm looking to get out of Next Level Creators, is to create freedom for myself to pursue things on my terms, once I can set up my business to run with a model which is scalable, which does give me predictable income, which it does create room and time in my life to pursue other things. So I don't necessarily look at Next Level Creators as a way of getting everything that I want out of video production, like in the sense that I don't look at it and think I need, like, what I want to do, like in shooting fashion and beauty and shooting beautiful skin, like that's not necessarily what will get results. I need to be focused on getting results for clients. Once I get those results, and once that turns into predictable income, outside of that, I will have freedom and time to pursue shooting a film just because I want to.
Yeah.
Shooting some artistic documentary or whatever, just because I want to. And
Yeah.
I happen to think that because it's for those, when I'm creating that under a bit more of a free situation, that work will also be better and will also lead to pursuing that pathway a little bit more strongly. So
Yeah.
I kind of find that instead of trying to get all of your goals out of one thing, you've got to look at the different stages you take in your life as serving different purposes. And for me personally, Next Level Creators is about getting set up with a predictable recurring income model, which delivers results, which establishes my reputation and gives me freedom to pursue the things that I want to do elsewhere creatively.
Yeah. That's brilliant. And so, with where you are now, Darryl, you've expanded your business. Your horizons are starting to open. I mean, you're still, when you think about it, you're so young into this model. You're only 2.5 months in with your first 3 clients, which is such an exciting time. And where do you see yourself in 3 years? How do you see this changing and shaping things for you over the next couple years?
Well, I'm not really a long-term thinking guy. Like I said earlier,
Yeah.
the brilliance of Next Level Creators is that it's taken away that stress for me. I'm looking to, as I say, bring anywhere on from 10 to 20 clients. I have a business partner now, and so our ability to sell on is a little bit more stronger than it was when it was just me. So 10 to 20 clients that we can deliver really strong results for, have that predictable model, buy a house, get that stuff sorted out, make sure that we're set up, so that the next 30 or 40 years that there is some stability in our lives. And then from there, pursue the creative projects that I want to pursue. Not just necessarily shooting things because people are paying me to do it, but shooting them because I believe in the ideas and the causes and the stories that they're out to tell, and to do that free of the imperative of money. Mm-hmm. So it's funny, like I want to create the basis using money in order to create the freedom to do things where money is not an issue.
Yeah. Yeah.
Plan, basically.
Yeah. It's a good plan. That's a smart way to do it. That's how I've done it. And it'll continue to pay you dividends by focusing on what's important for you and your family right now, and getting those structures in place. Because like you said earlier, like as a creative, when you trade that 9-to-5 job to work for yourself, you're responsible either way. Whether you have a job, you're responsible for your income. You're responsible for the value you're providing to that employer. You're valuable you're responsible for making their life better, because that's what a job is. The same thing when you go and work with 100 clients doing video production. You're responsible for the value you provide. When you do it with commercial campaigns, it's just a simpler model where things are on your side to where you have more predictability, more reliable things, but you're still responsible all the time. I see creatives say, I don't want to be a numbers person. I'm like, you don't need to be a numbers person, but you need to be a responsible person. Okay. Those are the same thing, right?
Yeah.
So, that very much makes a lot of sense to me. And hey, I'm really happy that you decided to join. It's been an honor to work with you so far. I look forward to doing another interview in a couple of years to let people see where you've made it and what you're doing then. But I really appreciate you sharing your story and everything. Is there anything else you'd like to share with people about yourself? Whether this is someone who's in the fashion industry and interested in possibly working with you, or anything about where people can contact you?
Look, I would say, just responding to what you just mentioned earlier about the creatives that say that they don't want to do the numbers game, and they want to stick to it being creative. To someone like that, I would say, yes, I've been there. I've been in that headspace, and the best of all intentions and sticking to those certain ideals, whether you want to hear this or not, that grinds you down eventually. That will grind you down. Unless you can create the perfect conditions to express that creativity, there will come a point where you will be burned out from the resistance of trying to hang on to your creativity on your terms, and you'll only work on this, if it's something that you want to do, et cetera. You can't maintain that forever. It's a lot easier, when you're 21 and you just, think F the world, whatever, I'm going to pursue this. This is what I want to do. But time takes its toll after a little while, and you've got to then work out how to make sure that your skills can plug into the commercial system in a way to make money. That's the reality for me. It doesn't mean that I don't pursue things on a purely creative basis. I certainly do. I still have those projects running. But I guess I've wisened up on one aspect of the way I spend my time each week.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate that, and appreciate you sharing that, because that is in a sense, you just had a fatherly talk with a lot of people. that's the father in you right there coming out. You're like, I want, in a sense, you're like, hey, listen, to anybody who's listening to this, I want to parent you for 5 seconds. Give me your ear. I went through this.
Yeah, I look that could then. Yeah, I hope I didn't sound condescending or patronizing. I guess just no. My personal experience.
It's good.
Was like, I've been there. I played as a professional musician. I've done a lot of creative practice. I've always done it off my own initiative. There's probably a lot of other people listening who can identify with that. The key is to not hang on to those ideals, burn out after 8 years, and then go and get a job. That is not an option. You have to take the skills that you have and make sure that you sustainably use them in a way which means that you can prolong the lifespan of doing creative work, not burn out with it. because I've seen so many people who are young, they love their artistic practice, and then, no, you can't earn money doing this, and then it comes too hard, and I go get a job and get serious. But now more than ever, you can take creative skills and get serious with them and make them work for you long term. That's what I'm finding with next level creator clients coming on board, is that they've been dying to wait to hear from someone like me. Like when I was just making video for them and they love the video, the fact that I now come up to them and say, I'll make the video and I'll try to guarantee the return on investment. They're like, great. Why have a bunch of parties why have a middleman agency contracting out a creator? Why not just get this creative person who we really love their work to help drive returns for us? They actually like that I think they see the sense, the common sense in that approach of cutting out one part of the chain and just going straight to the source.
They do.
And yeah, that's what they want. So it's out there. Just got to go out there and do it. For us, it's about slowing down on the selling side now and focusing on the results. We still have sales meetings coming up, and now we're thinking, God, we don't want to bring on too many more clients. We need to be focusing on delivering results for people.
What a change that is, right?
Yeah.
That's awesome. I love it. Darryl, I really appreciate you sharing your story. And to anyone who wants to reach out to you, where can they find you?
So they can come to our website, which is thevisualeconomy.com. And on there, they can submit a form, or they can find me on Facebook, just under my name, which you can flash up on the screen if you like, or link me in wherever. Just track me down on Facebook, send me a direct message, and I'll chat with you there.
Awesome. Thank you, Darryl. Much appreciated.
You're welcome. Thank you.